to my video on multiplying and dividing integers. So our first example here says 2 times 4. So we can read this as two groups of 4. So let's draw the counters for this. So I'm going to have 4 in this group and 4 in this group. So I have two groups of 4, so how many total integers do I have? I have 8 positives. So let's look at it on a number line. So we have two groups of 4, so I'm going to start at 0. Draw an arrow to 4. And then start at 4. And draw another group of 4 until you get to 8. So notice both ways. Here I stop at 8. Here I have 8, so the answer is 8. Now the rule says that when I'm multiplying two positives, the answer is always positive. So I like to say I'm awake and doing what I love to do, and that's teaching. So I'm happy when I'm wide awake. Let's look at example number 2. It says 3 times negative 3. So we would read that as 3 groups of negative 3. So the counters would look like this. There's one group. There's 2 groups, and there's my third group. So how many negatives would that be? The answer is negative 9. Now I'm going to represent it on the number line. I'm going to start at 0. And I'm going to do 3 groups of negative 3. So there's 1. There's 2. There's 3. Notice my third arrow stops at negative 9, telling me that the answer is negative 9. So now this rule says a negative times a positive is always a negative. And I like to say I have a black eye. Somebody punched me in the eye and I'm not happy. Okay, moving down here, let's scribble out this part right here. That's not supposed to be there. Okay, we're going to complete the pattern below. So it says negative 5 times 1, so use your rule. We have 1 negative, so I have a black eye, so it's negative 5. Because 5 times 1 is 5. 1 negative makes it negative 5. Negative 5 times 0, anything times 0 is 0. That's the multiplicative property of 0. Now, this is the rule we're learning. 2 negatives makes a positive. Look at the pattern going on here. Negative 5, 0, 5. And then once again, 2 negatives makes a positive. 5 times 2 is 10. So if 1 negative makes a negative, then 2 negatives is going to make a positive because it'll undo the 1 negative. So I like to say I'm sleeping and I'm still happy because if I don't get enough sleep, I'm not going to be happy. Okay, let's turn the page. So now dividing integers. Because division and multiplication are opposite operations, division rules are exactly the same. So now the signs are different. So I have a negative divided by a positive. What's 15 divided by 5? 3, and I'm going to make it negative 3 because I have 1 negative. So think of, if I have 1 negative, I have a black eye, so I'm not happy. So the quotient is always negative. Negative divided by a positive is a negative. Now look at the same signs. We have a positive divided by a positive, so 18 divided by 6 is 3. And look at the face. 2 positives makes a happy face, so the answer is positive. Or I could have negative divided by negative, also equal positive because I'm sleeping and I'm still happy. So 12 divided by 3 is positive 4. So the quotient is always positive. Now there's another way we can do it. So we can use the faces, but we can also use the tic-tac-toe board. So winning tic-tac-toe strategy shows you the rule for multiplying and dividing integers. So let me show you how this works. I can win across, so a positive and a negative makes a negative. A positive times a positive makes a positive. A negative times a negative makes a positive. A positive times a negative makes a negative. A negative times a positive makes a negative. So as long as it's a winning strategy, no matter which way I look, up, down, across, or diagonal, it will be my integer rule. So some people prefer the faces, some people prefer the tic-tac-toe board. Use whatever you find more useful to you. So let's recap. When multiplying or dividing, two like signs becomes a positive, meaning if I'm multiplying two positives or multiplying two negatives, the answer is always positive. Where two unlike signs becomes a negative. So when I'm multiplying a negative and a positive, the answer is always negative. Okay, that concludes our notes on multiplying and dividing integers. I hope you have a great day.